Hello, Team Superdad crew. Welcome to this week's podcast. Are you prioritizing yourself? You should be, and that's okay. Roll theme.
Welcome to Team Superdad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.
Hello, dads. Welcome to this week's episode of the Team Superdad podcast. My name is Jonnie Jensen, founder and creator of Team Superdad and the Hero Academy. I am a performance coach for modern dads, business owning mainly, my clients, people inside of the Hero Academy and Team Superdad. We are dads who are taking life by the scruff of the neck, creating the life we desire, not one we feel stuck in. And that requires you to be on your game, requires you to take back control and live at a level perhaps you haven't done for a while, perhaps too many men haven't done for a while. And in fact, in a new way as we sit here in 2023, creating what it means to be a modern man and what it means to lead our family with confidence and some swagger, you know, not being there to completely serve others, but being there to live actually the life that we were given, the opportunities that we were given to be successful in our business, to be an amazing dad, and to have a shitload of fun whilst we're doing it. And that is what we are all about. If you're interested in being part of the community, then there's a free group that you can join by going to teamsuperdad.com/group. And if you're interested, as we go across today's across today's podcast episode, if you're interested in being part of the next intake of the Hero Academy, then simply go to teamsuperdad.com/hero and you can get yourself pre-registered, get yourself on a call with me and find out, well, you can tell me what you want to get out of it, what you want to create, and we'll talk about how the Power Code and the Hero Academy could suit you. Working on my new mic setup, as I was going to connect my phone so it's better, you know, so it's 4K, and we simply ran out of time a little bit, partly caused by two things that happened today. Woke up this morning and found that a bag at my girlfriend's house, a bag had fallen off the counter, smashed on the floor next to my work bag, and so this bottle of tonic. How are bottles of tonic the glass these days? Nine times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they would be plastic, right? They would bounce, the water would be fine. But no, it's smashed. It's gone right through my entire bag. Thankfully, my laptop was not in there. But and then when I got to my daughter's friend's house to pick her up, they opened the front door and I said, "Oh, looks like the dog's done a crap." It's a Chihuahua, right? The dog's poos are like flipping marshmallows. They're not big, but I'm saying, oh, there's one there. Little did I know that I've trodden the other one, and now I'm scraping crap out of my gym shoe. So that's why I'm a little bit short on time today. Or well, not that you would know it, but certainly there has been a rush. Today's topic: are you prioritizing yourself, or are you prioritizing yourself as number one in your life? Fascinating example of where we've got ourselves today as modern men, as dads, as people who are trying to have it all, and yet in doing so, in the harder we work, in the more we give, in trying to squeeze it all in, we just seem to find that we're exhausted, that we're not getting the feedback from our business, from our relationships, from our children that we want. And that just doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel like, hang on a minute, I'm putting all this effort in and getting shit back. So it's not about being selfish either, okay? When I talk about, are you prioritizing yourself? This isn't some old school way of being a man, of working, drinking, coming home, expecting it all. It's not about that. It's not that kind of selfishness. It's a prioritizing yourself so that you can be more, so that you can give more, so that you can do more. In simple terms, if we look at your finances, right? If you're not knowledgeable, if you're not managing your money well, if you're not growing your business, then you can't create the kind of wealth you want for yourself or your family. Your health, probably even more pivotal in this. If you haven't got the level of fitness, the confidence, the energy, the focus, then you can't be that person who goes in and smashes it at work, comes home, plays with the kids, and then takes your missus out and have a great evening, ending in awesome sex. Like, you can't be that if you're knackered, if you're burnt out. And of course, mental health as well. If you're run ragged mentally, if you haven't taken time to listen, your mental health, your journey, how you manage that, it might be an individual version for yourself. But in terms of the Hero Academy and our work, it's going to be some kind of mixture of getting the right sleep, eating right, perhaps a bit of meditation, journaling, taking time for yourself, celebrating your wins. Like, these are the core consistent routines that allow you to create time for yourself so that you can be more for others. Somewhere in amongst this last, it's probably, as we sit here in 2023, we're getting into the realms of 60 sort of years, 1960, no, probably not 1960s, but certainly getting into the 1980s. So we're talking 50 years, 45, 50 years of men being a more active part in their family, of men having to juggle their roles of money maker, of family leader, of community, of parent, of partner. Like, it's almost like it's become expected, or we feel like it's expected. There is and naturally so, we should balance the responsibilities at home, but that also depends on your circumstances. There's a lot of different subjects that fall into this, but when you prioritize yourself, it's about not just the time that you create for yourself, but it's also about the boundaries as well. Where are you showing up in your relationship? Where are you showing up in work? Where are you showing up for yourself? If you don't have clear boundaries around those things, then it makes it quite hard to prioritize what's important. Equally so, when you prioritize time for yourself to do those things that you need to get done, then it allows you to be more present, more successful, more committed, more of the man you want to be to those people when you are with them. So it's selfless, not selfish. It's about enhancing your ability to serve others. Okay, so how do we know if we're neglecting our own needs? By the way, if you're watching on the live, then by all means drop a little hello into the comments. Most of the socials will bring it back to me via this wonderful tool called StreamYard. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching or listening, or watching on the replay or listening on the podcast, then absolutely make sure that you're subscribing. Give me a hashtag replay, or on the podcast, drop in with a review. And remember, share this as we're enjoying this content today. Share it with other men in your lives so that we can spread the word of Team Superdad, and we can create this community of modern, empowered men living the life they want to live, not a life they feel stuck in. So how do you know you're not prioritizing yourself? It's the same themes. It's if you listen to what we do here at Team Superdad regularly, you'll recognize that it is the same themes. It's about feeling exhausted, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, almost taken for granted. There's a level of resignation and frustration that comes into it, and it's you have to watch out here, because when we give and feel like we're not getting anything back, that might not necessarily be the case. It might be that we've give too much and not made time for ourselves. We start to depend on others to give us back what we need. The reality is that you need to give it to yourself. We shouldn't be dependent on others for our joy, for our satisfaction, for our sense of fulfillment. Those people around us, in particular our children and our partner, like our wife if you're still married, or the relationship that you're creating, A common failing is where we put everything into those people, expecting them to give back, expecting like, if I give enough to these people, I'll feel good, or they'll love me enough and that'll make me feel good. No, that's upside down. You have to create the time for yourself so that you are solid on your 2 feet, so that your self-confidence and self-belief and like that mojo, that inner direction and engine is yours to fuel. So you might notice some of what I'm referencing there in some of your relationships. It shows up as frustration. It shows up as resignation. And of course, where do they show up? It shows up as snappiness, as arguments. You know, it's all too easy in the busyness of our day-to-day life to expect that other people are going to give back. And it's just not the case. So have a look, do a little audit for yourself on your hobbies and interests, on books, on the amount of knowledge that you're taking on board, of your time in the gym, of your exercise outdoors, like of seeing your friends. Take a little audit and notice how much of that have you given yourself. Inside of the in Team Superdad and the Hero Academy, we have the F5. We have the F5 accountability call, and you complete that by looking at your F5 tracker and Superdad lifestyle. By paying close attention to what you're doing for yourself, you can notice then how that translates into how you're feeling in those key areas. How are you feeling in your focus, your fitness, your finances, your family, and your fun? As I say that, I hope it becomes apparent that why should you expect everybody else? Sorry, Alexa's just telling us that Tottenham are playing Leicester later on today. If I know Alexa well, he's going to repeat that in a second. There we go. If anyone could tell me why my diary repeats itself in Alexa, I'll be thrilled. But yeah, noticing that for yourself. You go through those things: your focus, your fitness, your finance, your family, and your fun. Like how you're feeling in those areas. If you're waiting for other people to make you feel good in those areas, well, guess what? You're going to wait probably a long time. It's when you can be responsible that you can fully enhance those key topics, and you do that by following the Superdad lifestyle. Okay, so what does prioritizing yourself look like? It starts with a clear understanding of what you need, what you want to feel good, what kind of direction you're headed in, where it is that you find your sense of fulfillment. Then you can look to see how much of that is actually happening. When you're showering, when you're shaving, when you're getting dressed, like that self-awareness of actually, do I feel like I do? Do I feel like strong? Do I feel like I'm in control here? When you're naked and getting down to business, like how am I self-conscious? Am I thinking about her, or am I thinking about myself? Like these are telltale signs. You'll often have heard me say the time that you type into Google, am I burnt out, is definitely too late. You are burnt out. Okay, these are the steps when you need to realize. For parents who've got young children, it's a complete mistake for you not to look after yourself during that precious time. If you're getting up at the same time she's getting up to both sit there and feed the baby, that's madness. Like it might seem like, oh, that's a nice, lovely thing to do, but no, you need to sleep while she's awake, and she needs to sleep whilst you're awake. That's just sensible stuff, right? But it's you being self-aware enough to know I'm not getting enough sleep. If I don't get enough sleep, I can't perform well in all the areas that I need to perform well. And so you have the balls to say, no, I need to take some of this time for myself. I need to sleep more so that I can be more for you. And of course, from a health point of view, if you're ill as a result of not taking enough care for yourself and priorities, then you can't do anything. That's quite literally the irony of it all. So take a look at your schedule across the week. Notice what commitments you have and don't have. Like, where can you make more time for yourself? What adjustments are going to have to be made? You'll know if you're part of the Hero Academy, we're very strong on what your morning and evening routine is. that seems a little bit flipping rigid, a little bit boring. But here we are as 40-something-year-old men, and we're making a stand by saying, I need to take control here. I need to feel like a better version of myself so that I can be more for others. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. You can't magic up more time in the day. So you might have to say, bedtime looks like this. And if bedtime looks like that, then date night and making time for both dinner and getting home and getting into bed and, creating those moments of intimacy for yourself and each other. It might look like that's what time you go out for dinner, that's what time you come home, so that we can do this afterwards. There is no magic spell where you get an extra 2 hours in the day. If you're talking about getting some a workout in, if you're talking about some journaling or some meditation, then you're going to have to find that time for yourself. The best time is the morning. Somewhere around 5:36 into 7 o'clock, that's where you carve out an hour for yourself. And as far as your hobbies and interests go, it is again about your diary. It's about saying, no, I'm not playing golf 3 times a week because I just like playing golf. I'm playing golf once a week because that's where I get to both socialize with my friends, it's where I get to relax and create time for myself. And so it's on you though, that when that occasion is over, that you go back and you commit fully to, primarily if we're talking about this, if it's a weekend, you're going back and you commit to your family. Carved out time for yourself. Well, of course you need to then carve out time for your kids. Have them know that your time for yourself is important, but they are equally important. Because if you're doing this and you're not snappy, you're not tired, you're not exhausted, you are able to run around, you are able to laugh and joke and enjoy conversation together, then you are being more for those people that matter to you. It sounds overly simple, and it's kind of difficult for me in many ways when I go through the different themes of the Super Dad lifestyle, of being a member of the Hero Academy, of following the Power Code methodology. It's sometimes I'm like, surely there's another part to this. There's something different. There's a way of approaching this in a different direction to get the same result. But it isn't really the case. It's about doing these things, doing them consistently. The power of compound leverage, where you do something on a consistent basis over time and then suddenly notice the results. It's then that someone says, wow, you look good, or wow, things are different, things are better. I had a conversation. In fact, let me share this with you. 2 conversations in this last week. One dad, and I meant to say this at the beginning of the live because it really is about the theme for today. He's going through a breakup, quite honestly, and it's a mess. But having moved into his own place, as much as that feels difficult, he's also now free from the stress and strain of what was going on in the relationship, broken up but still in the same home. And as I went through, I said, well, what are your priorities? And he said, well, of course the kids, of course the business, and it took a while. I said, what's the priority in your life that's missing from that list? And he couldn't see it. And that's because he spent so many, quite honestly, years believing that his priority had to be everything and everyone else before himself. And that's where this kind of emptiness and exhaustion comes from. You have to be more for yourself so that you can be more for everyone else. And the other guy, we were talking about his relationship and how after, they've been married a long time, how, and the kids are now suddenly reaching a chapter in their life where they really are independent. They're all at secondary school, and their relationship had been strained in the extreme, to the point where are we going to see, are we going to get through this? Are we going to, it's weird. It used to be easy. Now it's difficult. Why are we arguing? Why is there so much tension in our relationship? And it was making him realize that he hadn't carved out that time for himself, that he hadn't gone to his wife and said, this is what our new chapter looks like from my perspective. And this is who I want to be for you. This is how I want our relationship to work for me. Notice in that respect, he was prioritizing himself in the relationship. Because you can't give and suddenly hope it for all to miraculously work out. Your wife, your partner, your children, they're not mind readers. You've got to have the confidence and self-awareness to bring you to the game. And that is where the fulfillment comes. Because when you're clear about the direction you're headed in and the people around you are aligned with that, and you're leading by example, and the results start to come back your way, that's where the fulfillment comes. Because as men, we need to feel grounded in who we are. And too many men simply are not. And you've got to realize that that is at the heart of what is going on for us in this modern world. So, where are you going to prioritize yourself this week? What are you going to do differently? Like I said, it probably starts with that audit, and then it starts with being quite honest with yourself, and then quite honest with the people around you, and then scheduling it into your diary. If you're going to find that difficult, then of course you're going to need to get yourself over to the Team Superdad community, teamsuperdad.com/group, and whether as part of that process of joining the free community, or whether you want to jump straight to the Hero Academy for men that are truly committed in making a difference and stepping up their game, then I'd love to see you as one of the next members of the Hero Academy. Get yourself over to teamsuperdad.com/hero, and we will have a conversation. I'll tell you all about the power code and how the Hero Academy works, and we will get you leveled up. I just had an awesome bit of planning this week with Pete Brook, who's a PT and nutrition expert. And as much as fitness and the daily sweat is core to everything I do, what I want to do is bring some expertise, a different voice, someone who can both kick my ass and your ass. And Pete certainly is that guy. So I look forward to sharing more of that as it comes online, and getting you introduced to Pete. If you've got any questions from today's live, then by all means drop it in the comments. I'll come back and answer them at a later date. If you're watching on a replay, give me #replay. Again, drop those questions, comments in wherever you're watching, and I'll come back and respond. And to the podcast crew, our original, let's call you fans, shall we? But our original community and tribe, we're in what I'm calling the 4th season of the podcast, but it actually goes back about 3 years. I'm toying with how to shape the podcast moving forward, getting some of the authors of the books that I've read over the last 10 years. And quite frankly, there's a lot of dad coaches around the world now, and I've been considering ways in which I could bring them in on a rotating basis and get some of their wisdom from their perspective, from their programs. We could have a bit of a laugh, a bit of banter, all in the name of raising men up. We are modern men in 2023, creating the life that we desire, getting out of the lives that we feel stuck in. And it is about modern masculinity, about being powerful leaders in our own lives, in the lives of those around us, and just stepping it up so that what it is to be a man is known by us and those around us. I hope today's episode has struck a chord. I hope you got a lot of value from it. I really do look forward to seeing you within the Team Superdad community. Share this around with people you know and love, and I'll see you next week. Team Superdad out.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.